Good morning, everyone. I'm your host for this morning's webinar. This is Dan Soan, past president of PIC, and we welcome you all to this very important topic and a breakthrough in the industry and in the Philippines. And we are so excited today, and we have a very knowledgeable resource speaker, which will be introduced later on. Um, so I think everything is in order, and we have the program ready. So we will proceed with our opening, our opening prayer, right? Opening prayer by Ms. Tess Montes, PIC Secretary. Tess, can you do the invocation?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Sir Dan. Let's start learning session today with God. Let's remember that we are in the most holy presence of God and adore His holy name. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, thank you for this day, for your love, and for the opportunity of gathering us to this learning session. May you open our hearts and minds as we listen to our guest speaker as he shares his knowledge on making our world real, safe, and secure. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginnings, now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Tess. The next portion is the singing of the national anthem. I believe we have an audio. Sally?
Just sing a cappella, Dan.
Okay, let's sing our national anthem. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Bayan maging perlas ng silangan,
Alag ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay, lupang hinid, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulubi, di ka pasisi, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy langit ko, may dilag ang tunay, tawid sa layang minamahal,
lupa ng dampa, may mga api ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo. Sorry for my voice. I hope you will forgive me. Okay, so we will now proceed with the introduction of the guest speaker, our welcome remarks coming from Mr. Francis Papa, Executive Director of the IIAP. Francis?
Thank you, Danny. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the IIAP President, Ma'am Ming Jacinto, I wish to welcome and thank all of you for taking time to celebrate the Insurance Consciousness Week with us. I wish to thank, of course, the Insurance Commission, the PIRA Chairman Butch Rosario, and PIRA Executive Director Mitra Liosa, PIC President PJ Remo, and all their officers and staff for putting their time and effort in organizing this week's activities. I'm glad that the PIRA, the PIC, and the IAP have joined forces to celebrate Insurance Consciousness Week. Just last July, our three organizations also got together and probably held the most successful Commissioner's Cup golf tournament thus far. The key really to having successful initiatives is collaboration. And I'm glad that PIRA, the PIC, and the IAP are setting an example for the rest of the industry. It is indeed fortunate that COVID seems to be losing steam these last few months. And so we are able to once again gather with friends and colleagues much more often and are just slightly worried. The pandemic has inhibited many of our activities in the past 2 years. And because of that, we are spending significantly more time online, which has definitely increased the risk of cyber attacks and fraud. In our webinar today, we will again make you aware of a product that is out in the market already. And this is personal cyber insurance. During the lockdowns, I'm sure that you have heard all the horror stories about electronic and online fraud and identity theft from people very close to you and how they have lost money because of this. Well, if you are worried about this risk, then this webinar today, organized by our organizations, will be very helpful for you. So I am asking everyone to stick with us for this morning and hope you all enjoy the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Francis, for that most appropriate and fitting opening remarks for our webinar today. And may we now call on the Vice President of the PIC, Mr. Bernard Gerard Reyes, to properly introduce our guest speaker today. Bernard?
Good morning. Is my audio clear?
Yes,
Okay.
loud and clear, Bernard.
Our presenter is a very good friend of mine and a very good friend of the whole insurance industry. The best person to give this webinar being the initial proponent of personal cyber insurance, his brainchild. He recently retired from the National Reinsurance Corporation of the Philippines, where he headed the non-life reinsurance group. Prior to that, he spent most of his career in direct non-life insurance operations, holding positions as the head of underwriting operations, claims, and sales. He currently works with Arthur Gallagher Singapore, which is collaborating with NATRE to help local insurers develop retail cyber insurance products. Ladies and gentlemen, my good friends, better known as Sandy, bearing a very reputable surname, please welcome Alexander Sandy Reyes.
Yay!
Maraming salamat, Bernard. Shall you be shifting to my slides? Yes. Okay. Good afternoon, good morning, everybody. No, as Bernard mentioned, no, I used to be with National Re. Actually, this later this talking about a project we're now working on, which is being led by National Re. I always believe that there's a role for a national insurer where everybody benefits, you know, the public, the industry, you know, and by bringing programs that are sustainable. Okay, let me just start with next slide. Next slide. Okay. Ito na ba? Parang may na-miss na slide. Okay, anyway. So this morning, it is not going to be a very long presentation, but you might have a lot of questions. This is a new product, new initiative. No, so this morning we shall be talking about why we believe cyber insurance is now an emerging market, an emerging product We've been talking about cyber insurance for the past decade, and now we'll see why it is time for this product. We'll also talk about oh, we'll also talk about development challenges and also the opportunities, and maybe craft a way forward towards developing cyber insurance portfolios. And then we'll talk about, I give you an overview of personal cyber insurance and this interesting as a feature, which is the assistance service, the 24/7 assistance service. So we'll talk about why this is the type of program that the industry needs and that the public needs. And then we'll take you through the National NAT3 Personal Cyber Insurance Program. So you appreciate how this actually benefits the industry and how coming together, as Francis mentioned earlier, how collaborating, can actually be beneficial to everybody. Everybody meaning the public and the industry. And also, finally, we talk about how this program like this, broadly accepted by the public, would help reduce cyber fraud losses. Okay, next slide. Ay, dito pala napunta. Okay, anyway, I just put together, I just gathered some headlines relating to cybercrime just to show you, just to remind you how frequently cyber fraud happens, cybercrime happens. So, next slide. Next slide. Hello. Gusto niyo ako na mag-share ng screen? Okay. So, as I mentioned earlier, we think it is now time for cyber insurance. Actually, there are forecasts that say that cyber insurance is seen to be growing to the level of property insurance and maybe even exceeding property insurance by as early as 2030. As you see here below, the global cyber insurance market was valued at 10.33 billion in 2021. It's projected to grow from 12.83 billion in 2022 to 63.62 billion by 2029. That's a compounded annual growth rate of 25.7%. So very significant growth expected from this line. And if cyber insurance is going to be a major line in the future, insurance companies have to start building their capability, their familiarity with cyber insurance. That's why we think companies should take note. Don't wait with 2023 when everybody's already on board and you're going to catch up. Start building your portfolio now. Start building your capabilities now, so that you can take advantage of the expected significant growth in this line. What is driving this line is actually the very high level of risk awareness, cyber risk awareness. In the 2019 Global Risk Report, rising cyber dependence was already cited among the top 5 global trends. Large-scale cyber attacks and breakdown of critical information structure and networks was cited among the top 10 risks by impact, while massive incidents of digital fraud and theft was cited among the top 10 risks by likelihood. So very high awareness of cyber risks. The only thing is in the Asia Pacific region is actually lagging when it comes to cyber insurance. That's why reinsurers are actually looking at this market as at this area, you know, as a potential growth area in the near future. Okay, next slide. Okay, so I've been talking about how there's a very high cyber risk awareness and how cyber insurance has started to grow. Unfortunately, commercial cyber is still challenging. What's commercial cyber is for businesses, mainly for those who are most concerned about commercial cyber. This would be those handling a lot of client data, financial institutions, credit cards, you know, those with even shops, no, retail stores. So the problem with commercial cyber is there has been a lot of difficulty controlling ransomware. You know? So there have been very significant losses from ransomware for commercial cyber, such that virtually every carrier, every reinsurer, insurer, no, is actually adjusting underwriting guidelines. No, they're becoming more strict with respect to the minimum cyber protection requirements to even also the higher underwriting selection standards, plus on top of it, you have very significant rate increases. So premium rates this year expected or grow from 100, 200, even sometimes 300%. So even for the best types of risks, you'll see increases of around 40 to 60%. In spite of that, you see some insurers reducing their cyber risk exposure because, again, mainly because of ransomware. Okay, next slide. Okay. Cyber insurance portfolio, of course, you can do commercial cyber maybe as a fronting company, no. But if you were looking at having retained premiums, no, growing your real portfolio of risks, no. And next slide, please. Growing your real portfolio of risks, you have to start with personal cyber. Personal cyber, I think now is the time. You know, 5 years ago, I heard about personal cyber from a German reinsurer. I was asking him about products in Germany that were not yet available here, and said, well, there it's very popular now. A lot of people have personal cyber insurance. No, at that time, 5 years ago, no, I couldn't understand why anyone would need personal cyber. But then the pandemic happened, and suddenly it is clear, you know, why we all need personal cyber. It's because everybody's exposed. Suddenly, everybody's online, and everybody has to stay online. You cannot live away from, you know, the online environment. Everybody has an email, bank accounts. So actually, we used to wants all personal bank accounts to shift 30% of bank accounts to be digital, to have digital. Okay, totally. So even the government, no, in dealing with their suppliers, when they pay out, they're now requiring that payments be digital. No, so we cannot avoid digital. And actually here the survey says 3 out of 4 people, no, in the survey, it is a 2020 survey, no, that appeared in the Asia Insurance Review. At the time, no, 3 out of 4 said that they consider digital identity as one of the most important to protect. So it actually even was higher up in in the priorities than income and jewelry, in terms of their concerns over what they need to protect, which just reflects the level of awareness, for personal cyber risks. Actually, in a survey in 2020, there was an article in The Economist, that said Filipinos are most worried about natural disasters and identity theft. And in that article, I actually cited 92% of Filipinos are concerned about identity theft. So this is the opportunity for this industry, for the insurers. There's a large latent demand for personal cyber insurance that has to be tapped. Next slide, please. Okay, Philippines in particular. Number one pala tayo. Number one tayo sa text. Sa text. We also spend the most time on the internet. That's 10 and 10, almost 10 and a half hours a day on the average on the internet. Now we have a 180 million population, but we have 156.5 million cell phone connections. We have 76 million internet users, 92 million social media users. So clearly, cell phones and social media is more than one. Some people have more than one. Here, we are among the most active on the internet. 10 hours, 27 minutes average time spent for people aged 16 to 64 years old. And now, 62% of internet users purchase products or services online. And 43 million make digital payments. So clearly, this is your market. Actually, you're not just looking at 43 million Filipinos, because a person can probably get personal cyber insurance more than one package. So you're probably looking at what our objective here is to come up with basically have a product that is affordable to almost everybody. A very inclusive, affordable product. That's what this market needs. Next slide. Okay, but what is personal cyber insurance? I listed here 7 perils, but we'll just focus on the first 4, because the experience in other countries actually you come up with an initial product that is too complicated, you muddle the communication. It makes it too there become too many issues for the market to try to understand. So it's important when coming up with a new product to start simple and relevant, just the most relevant, and from there grow your client base, and then in the future work on the enhancements. So the first 3 here are what I consider the most basic cover, probably that an individual, an adult would need. That's identity theft, electronic fund transfer fraud, and online retail fraud. While cyberbullying may be more of a concern for students, I actually wish that we would eventually see that all students would be insured against cyberbullying. Let's go through these different coverages. Identity theft. What is identity theft? Identity theft, somebody steals your digital identity and maybe takes out loans, without your knowledge. I think there's a news item this year about a lady who suddenly realized, because credit agencies were coming after her for unpaid loans, sabi niya, wala akong kinalaman dyan. No? Wala akong pina-file na loan. So apparently somebody took her digital identity and filed for those loans. And then you also have cases where people buy, somebody else buys things on your behalf, not on your behalf, using your digital identity. No? So, kokolektahan ka ng merchant, sasabihin may utang ka, and then, but you have nothing to do with those purchases. Another form of identity theft would be somebody stealing your identity and pretending to be you. Like maybe making posts on your page, hacking your computer and posting on your page, or posting things online, that give the impression that it is you doing the posting. So that's identity theft. Electronic fund transfer fraud, this one is very, you guys are probably very familiar with this because we've had a number of cases this year. This is where you lose money from your online account. So that could be an online account or an electronic wallet. So that's electronic fund transfer fraud. And then you have online retail fraud. Online retail fraud, there are so many variations of this. Basically, online retail fraud is if you end up paying what you thought was to somebody who you thought was a legitimate merchant, but end up paying a fraudster. Like there's this one of the variations here is called man in the middle. Where the hacker, the fraudster basically monitors pay for it, but it does not arrive, and you don't get refunded. So that's online retail fraud. And then cyberbullying. Cyberbullying. This one is very, I think it's very important that we push as an industry, because cyberbullying is really a serious problem with students. So cyberbullying basically covers expenses like maybe psychiatric expenses or legal expenses that you have to incur because of cyberbullying. Eventually, maybe you could also write restoration costs. That's where you download the malware, can't use your computer, so you have to have it repaired. Cyber liability, post something online and end up getting sued. And cyber extortion, which is something like ransomware, but on the personal level. So this is cyber insurance. But if you think about it, any company can write personal cyber insurance because the limits are low. This personal cyber, so the limits are low. So theoretically, any company can write. But the question is, what would happen if your client calls and says, "I've been hacked. What am I supposed to do?" As insurance companies, that's not our skill. That's not our capability. That's not our specialization. We don't have the skills to manage hacking. So what we need, and cyber insurance is also different. Because unlike maybe motor insurance, you get in an accident, your car is damaged, okay, it's damaged, then you file your claim, you find out how much it will cost to repair. So not much of a rush. But with cyber insurance, if you feel you've been hacked, you have to act immediately. The truth is, our lives are in the computer. Our lives are online. Our bank accounts are online. No? Our pictures are online. Everyone we know is online. No? So it's so important to be able to act immediately if there is a claim or if there is what you call a cyber incident. No? If there is a possibility that you have been hacked, no? It is so important to act immediately. No time to just look at your policy, look for procedures on how to file. No time for that. What you need is access to immediate guidance, no, from cyber experts or what are called cyber crisis management experts. No? That is why when you do personal cyber insurance, it's so important to have a 24/7 assistance service. No? So this is where if something happens, no, a client even just suspects that they've been hacked, no, they call the 24/7 assistance center. And unlike other call centers, no, where people are probably just following manuals of procedure, here the call center has to be manned by cyber experts, people who know exactly what to do if in case of a cyber incident, people that can guide you and give you advice, direct you on what you're supposed to do, and maybe do some corrections to your computer, you know, to prevent or mitigate losses. You know? So that is what's important. That's what everybody needs. Actually, in Thailand, I think there's this case where they launch a personal cyber insurance cover, just cyber insurance, no assistance service. So they launched it after incurring some expenses, of course, for marketing. They launched it and they were able to sell, but eventually they had to stop. Why? Because clients were dissatisfied. Precisely because when the client calls, you know, what's the insurance company to do? The client calls and says, I've been hacked, no, or I think I've been hacked. What am I supposed to do? All the insurer can say is, how much is your loss? The thing is with cybercrime, you don't know how much your loss is immediately. You don't know where the hacking, the extent of loss that you may suffer because of if your computer had been hacked. You know? So you need to be able to respond immediately and give immediate assistance. So after that, they gave it up because it was damaging their reputation more than it was helping. No? Because they were not able to respond to the requirements of the clients. Actually, it's a bit unfair if you give a personal cyber insurance but do not have the assistance service. Because what are you going to do? What do you expect the client to do? And another thing is actually without the assistance service, you'll probably end up paying a lot more. Because if something happens and you do not look into what's causing the losses, no, or look into how to prevent losses, no, further losses, then you'll end up paying more. No? So end up paying more, then end of the day, premiums will have to go up, premiums go up, falls out of the reach of those people who actually need the help. No? So personal cyber insurance has to come with a 24/7 assistance service. Next slide. Okay. So what have been the challenges to cyber insurance, and why do I think that now is the time? We have everything that is needed to develop cyber insurance. Actually, to start the process of developing our cyber insurance portfolio. What had been the problem? One, market awareness. People don't know about cyber insurance. Actually, people like me before, I wasn't aware of cyber risks. Or maybe because at the time other than maybe my online bank account, no, I was people not doing a lot of transactions online. But even then, I was already exposed because I had an online bank account. No, so it's lack of awareness. Cyber insurance is new. People are not talking about it. The industry is not talking about it. Companies are not pushing it. So that's one of the problems. Or maybe if an insurance company has this product, they're the only ones talking about it. So it's very important to raise market awareness. If you only have a few companies talking about a new product, chances are you won't get the critical level of market awareness that you need to make cyber insurance ubiquitous, so that everybody has cyber insurance. So lack of awareness of cyber risk, lack of awareness of cyber insurance products, and no standardized wordings. Why is not having standardized wordings a problem with raising market awareness? It just makes things more difficult for the public. When they talk to one person, they should be able to understand that the same product when they talk to another, and not have two agents talking about totally different things, using different words, having different interpretations. Have a standardized product so that it would be easier for the market to be aware, to learn about the product. So that's the benefit of having standardized rules. It makes things easier, even for the agents, even for not only the public, but even for the agents. Everybody talks about the cover, describes the cover the same way. So clients don't end up being confused. But I thought this means this what this means. No? But how come when I talk to another company, it means a different thing? So it's so important to have standardized wordings. No? So that is one side, that's a demand side. And then we have the supply side. I mean, a lot of reinsurance companies have come to the Philippines the past decade, talking about giving the capacity for cyber insurance, even SME cyber. But truth is, again, if an insurance company writes cyber insurance, what's going to happen if there's a failure? So there's a lot of discomfort about writing the line. And another thing, of course, especially if you're going to write it to retain, you lack experience. We don't have experience. We don't have underwriting data. How do we come up with the prices? How do we come up with the policy terms and conditions? So lack of experience, and lack of underwriting data restrains, prevented us from developing cyber insurance. Lack of manpower, technical expertise with cyber claims management and investigation. Okay, you issue a cyber insurance policy, you have a claim, what are you to do? You don't have the in-house expertise, what will you do? Call an adjuster. How long will that take? The adjuster probably is going to take a few days just to do the interviews. After that, maybe they'll also need access to a cyber expert. How long is that going to take? In the meantime, your computer had been hacked and you're starting to bleed. So you continue to be exposed. So it's so important that this be addressed first. That's why insurance companies were not uneasy about writing cyber insurance, because they did not have the manpower, the technical expertise to handle these type of of the services required for this type of product. And even if they wanted to put in a call center, a call center manned by cyber experts, that is so expensive. To put up a call center, to have access to this kind of service, you have come up with a very high, a very substantial upfront cost just to set up the system. Because the company you're dealing with, the service provider, is going to require upfront costs just to set up the system. Two, they're going to require minimum production commitment. To give you a good price, you have to meet a certain volume. You can't meet this volume, you have to pay based on that commitment just the same. So it was a little challenge. It would have been a little very challenging for companies to write personal cyber insurance because it required a lot of risk. Even before earning your first peso, writing your first peso, you already have upfront costs. This is a new product. You don't know how the market will take it. You don't know how much you'll be able to produce, and yet you're asked to commit a substantial guaranteed volume. So these are things that would have restricted or discouraged companies from writing this type of cover. Truth is, even for SME, especially if you start with an SME, it's going to be even more expensive because you only have a few policies for SME and the cost of setting up the call center is the same. So the high cost developing cyber insurance required significantly high upfront cost and financial guarantees. The other thing is with cyber insurance is this highly used product. I mean, it's not like fire insurance where maybe you go through your life and never experience a claim. In cyber insurance, chances are there'd be a number of times when you would need access to the call center, when you would need expert assistance. And if you're going to hire somebody to answer all of those inquiries, then it's going to be very expensive to write. So again, so those have been the challenges to developing cyber insurance. So next slide. Okay, so what NATRA did is because it was appearing when as I used to work with National Re and actually started working this way while I was still with them. So I saw that everybody needed personal insurance. I knew the importance of inclusive or affordable, accessible cyber insurance for the broad base of the population, because almost everybody is exposed. Kahit yung magtatako, kung bayad mo, GCash. So almost everybody is exposed. So we needed to come up with a way to bring this product to market. The problem is, there's very high entry costs, and so lack of experience. So addressing the lack of experience with cyber insurance, NATRI partnered, of course, I'm already with AJ Gallagher, so this is through AJ Gallagher. NATRI now is partnered with global cyber insurers for the development and pricing. So effectively, we've asked global cyber insurers or reinsurers to come up with products, and not only the products, no, but also the pricing. So based on their experience in other markets, what is the price they are prepared to write for this type of product for this market? No? So we also came up, and NATRI came up with standardized policy wordings. I already explained earlier why it's important to have standardized policy wordings, because this encourages market familiarity. Now, the program put in place by National Re is not a fronting program, where you just seed everything. The purpose is to help local companies acquire, be more comfortable with the line. So it's a quota share where the insurance company, the local insurer, using the rates developed by and acceptable to the foreign reinsurer, where the local company is now able to decide on how much they want to retain. They want to retain small, they want to retain big, it's up to them. Basically, companies can now grow and over the years, increase their retention based on their risk appetite and their level of competence, the extent to which they're comfortable, based on the size of their portfolio, based on their available experience. So you know this. When you go into a new line, the best way to do it is first buy a quota share. So you retain a little and grow that over time as you build information and build familiarity with the line. The nice thing about this product, or this program that was put in place for National Re, is that reinsurance is on a net remittance basis. As you are aware, standard practice for quota share is you pay reinsurers a percentage of whatever price you charge the market. But we understood that the local distribution environment is different. You have some distributors who are not that price sensitive, can actually say, I can distribute this at this price as long as I get this margin. So what we did was have the insurance on a net remittance rate basis. So that means insurance companies are free to do their own pricing and product packaging flexibility. So there is no fixed rate for the market. Every company writes based on their assessment of the other factors. Operational support. We mentioned earlier, one of the hindrances to development of the cyber insurance is the lack of expertise. So with this new insurance program, comes a program for a 24/7 cyber insurance assistance service. This is manned by this basically partnered with Cyber Scout. Cyber Scout is a known incident responder among reputable insurers and free insurers. So that means insurance companies can actually write this line and not have to worry about, but I don't have the expertise. I don't have the people who can determine what exactly happened. Am I being, is it just the insured who's trying to file a fraudulent claim? So you don't need that expertise because that will be handled by the incident responder or by the call center. That call center is manned by cyber experts, so they basically do the verification of what happened. Now, because it's an active program, the rates were basically negotiated based on total industry potential. And of course, also to make sure that we're able to get the reduce the cost of the program, there will be a common industry call center. Truth is, it really doesn't make sense to say that there's a call center of company ABC. because the public knows insurance companies are not cyber experts. No, so we didn't see any benefit to insisting that each company have their own call center because that's so expensive. So basically, all companies come under one call center. So, and what that did was it not only reduced the costs that are being charged for the service, but also because it's one contract through National Re. National Re is not passing on the upfront cost or minimum financial guarantees. Lowest cost plus no upfront cost, no minimum financial guarantees. In other words, no hindrance to companies that want to distribute this product or want to develop their personal cyber insurance products. No, so they just develop, they have access to the reinsurance facility without having to commit any minimum premium requirements. What does this do? This makes sure that there will be broad industry involvement. The question always is, would you want to be? Maybe some large companies might be thinking, but maybe I could have, if not for Natri, I could have been the only one with this type of product. Truth is, you want to be a big fish in a small pond or a big fish in a big pond. Having broad industry involved, getting all insurance companies involved, means there will be very high market awareness. High market awareness translates to a larger market, a larger pond. That means you'd have so many companies, so many agents talking about personal cyber insurance. So that would help grow the market. And remember, talk about personal cyber insurance. Now, you start the process of raising awareness about cyber insurance in general. So that means you talk about personal cyber insurance now, that person you're talking to is one of those individuals that would have personal cyber insurance, would probably be an owner of a company, or be a lawyer, or be a doctor. People who have some commercial activities. So doing this, having a lot of companies talk about cyber insurance, raises awareness, market awareness, and prepares the market for more cyber insurance products. Right after personal cyber, for sure, people are going to ask about SME cyber. So broad industry involvement was a hindrance before because not all companies had access to the product. What NAPRES been able to do is make this product available to all companies. So broad industry involvement benefits everybody. It provides, it's made it possible to bring this product to the market at the lowest cost, and to involve most, or a broad base of insurance companies, so that you have a lot of people talking. So maximum broad industry involvement, having a lot of companies involved, helps us achieve maximum market awareness. And once you have a product, you're not just talking about cyber insurance. You'll have to go through raising cyber risk awareness. So it will help raise cyber risk awareness, help raise awareness about the security option of the cyber security option of getting insurance. And we'll also be able to provide the market 24/7 cyber assistance service that they sorely need to be able to be comfortable, to give them peace of mind in case of a cyber event. Let's check. Okay. So just to clarify, so so you basically have the insurance company. The insurance company handles product development pricing. They come up with their own product development and pricing based using the net rates provided by reinsurers. But it's up to them what they're going to charge, how they'll price it, how they distribute it. That is determined per company. The insurer still remains, in control of the claims. The insurer decides on the compensability of the claim. It is not the incident responder. It's not a call center. The call center just provides assistance, but it's the insurer who decides on the compensability of the claim. The insurer just provides, as part of their policy benefits, the 24/7 cyber assistance service. The 24/7 assistance service, or the incident responder, what they do is basically provide advice and consultation on cyber risk concerns. So, example, it could be as simple as, was I hacked? You call the call center, and they will check if you had indeed been hacked. There was one instance, for instance, where a guy received an email, thanking him from, let's say, this Hilton Kuala Lumpur, thanking him for staying at Hilton Kuala Lumpur on this day. And he said, I didn't go there. So he called the call center, and the call center found out it's actually a legitimate email, and apparently somebody mistyped the email address, or maybe his friend might have used this email address. But it was helpful because at least he was able to explain to his wife why he received that email. So even for things as simple as that. But you can call the call center also. For instance, it has nothing to do with covers. You have cover for identity theft, online retail fraud, electronic fund transfer fraud. Now your computer, you accidentally clicked a malware and lose access to your data. Call the call center. Call center is manned by cyber experts to the extent that they can help you recover the file. You can help you recover the file. If not, then you need insurance cover to pay for the cost of a third-party provider. So if you need a third party to do the service, then that's where you need the insurance cover. Otherwise, if they can handle it, they'll do it. You get hacked in somebody hacks your computer, gets some sensitive files, posts it online. Call the call center, and they'll find a way to take that off to the extent possible. Now, it's different to give any guarantees. The guarantee is only that they are competent, that they are experts in their field. Actually, the agents here are not just, it's not like you can just get people from your IT and put them in the call center. It's not the same. No. These are cyber crisis management experts. Their skill level is very high. That's why the Cyber Scout, when they hire people for the call center, they don't publish that we need call center agents. No, they have to look for those qualified people, because there are not a lot of them. So what the call center does is they provide advice. They provide immediate assistance. This is what you're supposed to do, so that we are able to avoid or mitigate losses. They guide or assist the clients in filing a claim. They tell the client, this is what you have to do. This is what I need. Give me a screenshot of this. You report to the police. You need help. In crafting the report? I'll help you. I'll help you talk to explain this to the credit agency, to show if it's identity theft, that it's not you. To prove to them that is not your transaction. So they guide and assist the clients in filing the claim or maybe resisting a claim from a third party. No? And then they prepare the incident report for the insurer. So that's all they do. They just document that this is what happened. But the decision on whether to pay or not to pay the claim still goes to the insurance company. Insurance company remains responsible for and in control of how claims will be settled. Note that the assistance service is not limited to insurance coverages. So when I said, for instance, you have, as I mentioned earlier, you have identity theft. That's the only thing that's covered. But he has downloaded malware. He wants to ask about how to protect his computer. He can call. No? So assistance service is broader, no, than all of the coverages provided. As long as the rule basically with in the assistance industry is if you can assist, you assist. And so that's a nice thing about having cyber experts manning the call center is because they can assist you in a lot of things, you know, authoritative. And that is also why service is very fast. Usually, if you assign a claim to an adjuster, first you assign a claim, that takes time. The adjuster has to meet with the client or do some interviews, you know, or collect some documents, you know. And after that, they prepare the report. The report is probably going to be checked from some more senior adjuster, you know, who has more experience before delivering this, typing this out, bringing this to the insurance company. All those take a lot of time. And you don't have the luxury of time when you're talking about a cybercrime. So you have to act immediately. That's why the call center is manned by cyber experts. They basically don't have to consult with anybody else. They know exactly what to do. And they decide, they prepare the reports as you're speaking to them. That's why the turnaround time for submission of the reports is actually within 1 day. From getting all the documents they need from the client, you know, they only need 1 day to submit this. They actually usually less than 1 day, you know, to submit this to the insurance company. Okay, so that's the difference. Insurance company handles the claims that would require some financial reimbursement, financial indemnity. 24/7 assistance, the call center verifies the circumstances of the loss, helps the claimant file the claim, and ascertains the circumstances of the loss. Do you know that 97% of the calls to the call center are actually do not resolve, can actually be resolved within that call, within the first call. That is the advantage of having cyber experts. They know what to do. No? So that means 97% of the claims, while there's a claim, while there's the client was able to use the policy, there's no loss to the insured. So 97% means clients are using the call center to get advice, you know, to consult, you know, rather than just to seek indemnity for financial losses. You know? So actually, based on the experience of CyberScout, in the first year of the program, you know, maybe utilization by clients of the call center is only around between 2 and 3%. That means not a lot of calls during the first year. But then they learn about how the different ways they can actually use the call center to assist them, to guide them. You know? The different ways the call center can assure them, give them peace of mind, you know, when they suspect they've been hacked. You know? So by the second or third year, you're actually looking at utilization of around between 10 to 15%. That means their clients actually would end up having a very useful product, but doesn't mean it translates to losses. Because again, 97% of the claims are actually for assistance. So your clients will end up very grateful, that they were given this type of benefit. So that, of course, goes into building more client loyalty, and client satisfaction. Okay, next slide. Okay, so we are hoping, because with this program, which we think is the best, program for this market. Cyber Scout, which has global operations, actually said this is the first time, that this has happened, where a personal cyber insurance cover with 24/7 assistance service by cyber experts is being provided to the market at what may be considered micro insurance. So this program has been able to bring down access to personal cyber insurance with 24/7 assistance service, even to regular, ordinary people, even to those in the broader, lower economic class, because it is affordable. So with the immediate access of the market to cyber experts to guide or prevent, to help them prevent or mitigate losses, we expect this would translate to reducing cyber fraud losses in general, because they would learn, rather than waiting for the loss to happen. If they report immediately, certain mitigation measures may be put in place to prevent losses. Plus, there would be effectively, by having a lot of companies involved, we would be helping educating the market. You think you have a lot of companies involved, a lot of agents involved, talking about assistance service and cyber risk, and so there would be a lot of involvement from the agents and the insurance companies. There would also be a lot of involvement in educating the public, but through the 24/7 assistance center, because you can actually call them and ask for guidance on how to set up your passwords, and your computer security. Plus, they also do post-claims monitoring. So the thing is, if you've been hacked once, if you don't do anything, you'll probably be hacked again. So when you have a claim, you'll be taught on how to set up your security systems, to improve your passwords. So that will be done, and then the call center checks on the client in 3 to 6 months to make sure, that they have remained diligent in applying the proper security protocols. So post-claims monitoring would also help reduce the claims. If we do not reduce the claims and claims go up, it's not, you don't say that, well, it's good, at least the public's able to claim a lot more. That means the public's losing more. What we need to do is have a system to reduce claims. And this is the way to reduce claims, by educating them, giving them access to the call center, doing post-claim checks to make sure that they're not re-victimized. Because if you're able to maintain, manage claims, and have a sustainable program, we're able to keep costs low. Keeping the cost low is important to making the cover acceptable or affordable to the public about cyber fraud and how to prevent, tips on how to prevent fraud. And having a common security assistance sector and basically the industry having common concerns, collaborating towards a personal cyber insurance product would give the industry the platform to discuss with government, to collaborate with government on ways to reduce cyber fraud, because we would know, we would have the information on different types of fraud that are actually happening. So with that information, with access to the cyber experts, we would not be able to collaborate with government and suggest measures to address cyber fraud. Okay, so next slide. Okay, so that's it. So if you have questions, wait, I think we missed. So I'll just run through. I'll just run through some items.
Francis, you handle the open forum question and answer.
Yes, Danny.
Okay. Go ahead.
So I think Sandy, are you still, will you round up something?
I'll just run through some of the. So just to be clear, because I think I didn't see the slide, but I'll just run through some notes, that I think are important, just to make sure that everybody has a better understanding of what is covered and what's not covered. So.
Okay, while we're waiting for Sandy to sum it up, I think he wants to share another slide with us. If you have questions, you can put it in the chat box. And the people from PIRA and PIC will be relaying it to me. I have a couple of questions for Sandy here, but I'll wait for the audience to submit their questions. Sandy, you ready?
Yeah, but maybe I'll just run through some things that may give them a better appreciation of what's covered, what's not covered. It is, of course, not exhaustive. The policy, you go through the policy conditions to have a better understanding of the cover. But in general, personal cyber insurance protects the insured. It does not protect the financial institution. That means even if a bank pays for the personal cyber insurance, the personal cyber insurance is going to work for the benefit of the insured. So what's an example? For instance, the client has been victimized by identity theft. That means somebody was able to was able to pretend to be him, or maybe a victim of electronic fund transfer fraud, where somebody was able to take money from his account. The bank might say, if it's a mass attack, the bank is going to pay for that. But if it's an individual claim, the bank is probably going to say, you'll have to prove it's not you. And that's where the call center comes in, the cyber expert comes in. They help you with the documentation to prove that it was not you. So it's not expected to take on losses that the banks or the financial institutions should shoulder, because this protects the insured, not the financial institution. The financial institution shall have to rely on their own cyber insurance policy. Actually, this covers losses related to corporate cyber liability or arising from commercial cyber attacks, because those are properly covered under the commercial cyber policy. This also covers personal, but okay, this covers the total personal cyber risk of the individual. It is not attached to any specific bank account, any specific credit card, any specific electronic wallet. No, the product covers the individual's personal cyber risks, which means all his accounts, all his emails, all his cards. Now, this excludes mass attacks in general. So that's from the point of view of an insurer, because it's a main concern. It excludes mass attacks because mass attacks are fall under corporate liability or would consider commercial cyber attacks. This is a personal cyber policy, and therefore it does not cover activities related to business or commerce. No? So that means for if you're buying things online for your business, that has to be covered by an SME policy. The client data of doctors, those related to commercial activities would not be covered. But truth is, the call center will be there to assist regardless. No, it also excludes confidence scams, sa electronic fund transfer fraud na nagpadala ka ng pera, alam mo kasi meron kayong online romance. No? After sending the money, hindi na nagpakita, o kaya lalaki pala kausap mo, hindi mo pala babae. No? So, hindi kasama yun. Tawag din mga confidence scams. This also excludes cryptocurrencies. No? Unregulated digital currencies or unregulated virtual currencies. Those are excluded. Now, the fraud must happen online. That means nanakaw ang credit card mo. Yung credit card mo ginamit to purchase things. So, hindi yun considered cyber loss because it's the loss of your card. So, of course, this also excludes fraud due to voluntary disclosure. So, for instance, binibigay mo yung password mo, security information to your boyfriend. Kasi yung boyfriend mo ang kumuha ng pera sa'yo. Hindi kasama yan. Those are voluntary disclosures. And then any losses related, yes, no. So there, because I didn't see this slide earlier. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Sandy. Yes, I think your last explanations will answer already a lot of questions in the minds of our listeners now. So, but in the chat box, I have two questions that have been posted already. One is from Mr. Bernabe. The question is, since this is a new product, underwriters and finance people often ask about loss experience. He's asking, do we have available data on loss ratios in the global market or maybe regionally?
There is, although strictly this would be proprietary in nature, no? But I also attended the lecture of Cyber Scout. They did mention that global experience of the insurance losses is actually low. Because most of the claims are actually handled by the call center by themselves without insurers having to incur financial losses.
Okay, thank you. The other question here is from Darius Artates. Is the cost of the 24/7 cyber expert will be for the expense of Natri or the insurer? What is the percentage share of the quota share? I think that will depend.
No, it's in the slip. It's in the slip. Of course, insurers shall have to pay for it. It shall have. It's part of the pricing. Let me put it that way. It's part of the price.
All right. Okay. There's another question here. How far is our collaboration with government? This one's from Raymond Morales, I'm sorry. So how far is our collaboration with government in terms of policing cyber attacks?
I think right now, because the insurance companies are not really involved in cyber insurance, I doubt if we have any significant collaborations with the government. But hopefully with more data, because we would have, eventually we would have data on the kinds of concerns raised by clients, the kinds of claims that are actually incurred. No, once we have that data, there will be more basis for us to collaborate and make suggestions to government.
Yes, I very much agree with that. Something that like what we are trying to do with motor car insurance claims, right? So the more information we have, the more participants there are to the program, then we have more data to share. Another question here from Mr. Mijares. He said, just like what happened to BDO early this year, is this covered under the program?
Okay, what happened to BDO would be considered a mass attack. So that would not be covered by the program. That's excluded from the program. It should be covered by the commercial cyber policy.
I see. Okay. I hope that answers the question. Another question here. Okay, the questions are coming in quickly now. Another one from Mr. Morales. How does data privacy going to be shared with our clients to Cyber Scout? This is related to the question I had also for you, Sandy. And because like trust is one of the big issues here. And there are a lot of people who are kind of worried about sharing their personal information with somebody. So yeah, how we can respond to that?
Yeah, although realistically right now, I don't think anybody has kept their personal information secret. No, it's a lot of information. No, I expect most companies will just ask for their clients for the name. Basically what needs to be reported to Cyber Scout, because this is an assistance service. So they need to know immediately who had been enrolled. So what would be declared there would be very basic. You know, it's basically just the name of the insured, of course, the name of the insured, and email policy number, email address is available.
Okay.
Not really significant.
So okay, not too many, not that much information. You're saying personal information will be asked for.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot to mention earlier, because like the public had been very lax with respect to their personal information. It's during the pandemic, no? Just everybody's gone online, and everybody just, because you're required to fill out a form before going into a mall or an establishment, you just give information. I don't know if it's because of that or because of a lot of other things that have happened where we disclose personal information. But do you notice a lot of the spam messages you receive actually have your name?
Yes.
Unlike in the past, it was around general lang. Now they actually mention your name, so that shows the progression, you know, of the activities of those who have access to your data, to data that you release to other companies. You know, it also found that because sometimes when we see this company was hacked, no, and the hackers were able to get access to their client data. So maybe you're thinking, oh, but what's the loss? No, there's no loss. No. So to the establishment, no, to the company, all they have to do is give advice to their clients, no, and maybe put in place necessary protection controls, no. But do you know that sometimes information that is taken now actually used in the future? No, like they may have hacked into data of bank or store, no, and doesn't translate to immediate losses or to immediate fraud uh, case, no? But could happen in the future, no. So they gather information, and then that information that they gather now may be used in the future.
Okay, so thank you. All right, I have a question here. That given that there is only one reinsurance provider, Sandy, for all the insurers in this program, do you think that this could be a cause for restraining the competition?
Okay, first of all, by coming together, no, and negotiating the rate for the industry, we were able to bring down the cost to a level that no single company could have negotiated on their own. So first, everybody wins, even the larger companies, end up with a lower cost. Even the larger companies, no, end up with not having to pay upfront costs, not having to incur any financial guarantees. The only difference is now everybody's on board. Not just maybe the large companies that maybe, kasi some of them may not even have been prepared to put up the financial guarantees. No, but now you have all of the insurance companies involved. They're not going to have, they have all the flexibility to come up with their own pricing, their own volatility assumptions with respect to their retained risk, their own acquisition cost assumptions, operating expense, margins. So there's no imposition of the market price. No? Basically, by having a net rate, no, based on the best terms, no, that could be negotiated for this market. No, by having that, companies now can compete based on their own strategies, based on their own internal strategic advantages. No, so it's you still have a lot of competition, a lot of thinking, a lot of strategizing on their own. No, we're not Natri or Gallagher is not going to be involved there. The only difference is we are prepared to provide suggestions, like because this is a new product for this market. So for instance, you're looking at, you have a significant program, no? You want to write for this large institution, and you need advice on communication, what are the marketing materials you need. Because this has been done in other markets, we can help give you access to that information, to those materials from CyberScout. So in that sense, then we can get involved by helping you, know, learn from the experiences and the materials developed for other markets.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. It's already 11:57. There are still there's still a question here. Are we still okay to attend to one more question?
Sure.
Okay.
Maybe just last question, Francis.
Yeah, just the last question, Danny. All right. Okay, from Mr. Sibauco, Triple I Society of the Philippines. The question is, will NATRI also be involved in commercial cyber insurance? There are commercial cyber insurance requirements. However, the application form are too complicated that prospective clients are turned off.
Yes, I think he's talking of large commercial cyber. No, that one, Gallagher may be prepared to help you, although, as I said earlier, no, that's still challenging. NATRE is going to focus on programs that would allow local companies to retain premiums. No? So right after this, right after personal cyber, we're actually already working on SME cyber. No? So still retail, still small enough so local companies can share and maybe eventually retain bulk of the premiums. So that, at least that's what. Although of course I'm not NATRE anymore, no? But no, but I know that this is their orientation. It's basically to help the local companies to grow.
That's nice to hear, Sandy. So thank you very much for all your answers. And now I'll turn you back over to the host, Danny.
Yeah, thank you, Francis. This is now our portion on awarding of appreciation to Sandy, whom I see now as the wizard, the whiskey for cyber insurance. And seriously, we have to thank Sandy for making cyber insurance happen in the Philippines. It's at first a crusade for Sandy. I just realized, but now happy that we are now in the bandwagon and there to support Sandy. So the presentation of a certificate of appreciation will be done by Mr. Romeo Bernabe, past PIC president. Romy?
All right. I agree with you, Dan. We have a full house today, and many others are watching on the PIRA FB Live. Can I have the certification? Okay, so let me read the text of the certificate. The certificate of appreciation is presented to Alexander Reyes for sharing his valuable knowledge as a guest of honor and keynote speaker during the celebration of the Insurance Consciousness Week 2022, given this 21st day of October 2022. Original certificate signed by Edgardo de Rosario, PIRA Chairman, Peter Jason M. Remo, PIC President, and Herminia S. Jacinto, IIAP President. I think, Tess, the certificate will be given to, sent to the office of Sandy.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Romy. We will now call the past president, another past president of PIC, Ms. Janet Malaluan Rojas, to give us the closing remarks. Janet?
Okay. Good noon, everyone. On behalf of PIC Board, we would like to thank our resource speaker, Sandy Reyes, for imparting his knowledge, expertise, and wisdom on this very hot topic, cybersecurity insurance. Such an informative, interesting, and very in demand nowadays. To date, we Filipinos are so vulnerable now to cyber crimes like identity theft, online retail fraud, online bank transfer fraud, etc., which can now be insured. With this breakthrough, there will now be someone to turn to and ask assistance to about cybercrime offenses by just simply calling our Cyber Scout providers, which we can now call on 24/7. Diba, very exciting?
Yes.
Myself,
Yeah.
after this webinar, I will inquire from our principals who have it now for quotations and issuance for my company BA Insight and my personal policy, of course. So come on, guys, let's market this awareness by simply campaigning this to our colleagues, family members, friends, and let take this opportunity, this ICW, Insurance Consciousness Week, as our moment to drum up this new product in our industry. Secondly, we would like to thank also our partners from IC, of course, Commissioner Funa and team, from PIRA, Sir Mitch and team, IIAP, Tita Ming and team, for helping us out on this special event. putting up this cyber insurance webinar. Thanks, guys, for this collaboration. Lastly, of course, our heartfelt thanks to all of you for attending this webinar. This won't be a success without you guys. So thanks, everyone. And till our next webinar, stay safe. That's it. Thanks,
Thank you,
Dan.
thank you, Janet.
Yeah,
That ends our cyber insurance webinar. We thank everyone and hope to see you again in the next cyber insurance series of seminar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sandy. Thank you, team.
Thank you, sir.
You from IMG.
Salamat sa Alpha.
Maraming salamat.
Welcome.
Ronald.
Bernard, Frank,
Salamat,
Thank you,
salamat.
Bernard.
Janet.
Salamat.
Thanks,
Yes.
Agnes.
Thank you
po. Hello.
Very informative. Yeah.
Bye.